Hey everyone, how's it going? So I made a promise this summer not to talk about any drama, and I kept to that. Didn't talk about any drama no matter what it was. Summer's over, so we figured we'd talk about this today. So there was a school shooting in Georgia recently, another one. Period. I'm talking about Georgia itself, but all over the United States. And this is going to be a huge problem lately. So, I think it really comes down to shut up. This is coming down to just bad parenting at this point, and just all kinds of problems. It was a 14-year-old kid's parents were all about guns. They claimed they had safety and all that stuff. The FBI was investigated about it. This was not the problem with the FBI. It was the problem with the parents. That's it. It was that's who was at fault for this. And guess what? They're charging the father as much as they're charging the son, which is good. Now, I can't talk about this case in particular because this kid was just bullied or whatever it was. I was bullied in school too, but you know what? I got over it. Most of it was just emotional anyway. I wasn't even physically hurt, so just, what I learned was you gotta learn to just, learn to forgive and forget. Simple. That's not even religious. That's just the way it is. But many times video games have been brought up. Video games have been brought up time and time again. Do video games cause violence? Someone's been doing this for a long time. Yeah, they kind of do. But it's not as easy as you think it is. It's not as cut and dry. Let's get Microsoft Paint here. I'll show you. I've used Paint in so long. Yeah. We'll just... Okay, so here's the thing that causes violence. It's stress. That's the number one thing that does that. So it's not video games in general, it's just stress. Well, let's take the average kid, for example. So let's go over this. So there's usually 4 or 5 steps that cause people to snap. So let's go with the first one. So let's say school. Okay. Everybody's been bullied at school at one point or another, okay? Happened to me, happened to you. I'm sure you realize this. Well, what usually happens is that some kids, they get bullied at school. If you're smart, you know how to deal with it the right way, but most kids ain't smart, so they don't know how to deal with it the right way, which is why they get stuck in it. So you go to school, you get your ass kicked, okay, there's already one step to the problem. So, all right, so you got one life you got to deal with. Okay, that's common. Then you get home. And now you're getting your ass kicked at home by either parents or brother or whoever or all of the above. That happens. So you get your ass kicked at school, you get your ass kicked at home. Already it's not looking good. This is usually the circumstance that causes people to snap their shit usually a lot. It's these two in general. So it's the two main factors you gotta do. So you can't get the problem fixed at school, you can't get the problem fixed at home. Already it's a huge problem. In fact, if you look at a lot of these kids who cause shootings, it's usually these two main factors right here that cause that. Let's throw another factor into the mix. Your job. Some kids, they start working pretty early. They start working as early as 16. And you got a job that sucks. Maybe you work at McDonald's or something like that, and you get screamed at by everybody all day long. You can see where this is going, right? You're losing your fight at school, you're losing your fights at home, and you're losing your fights at work, and getting paid for it. Not very well, but you're getting paid for it. So already it's not good. Now we get the video games. People play video games to escape their problems a bit. Okay, I've done that, and you know what? It's helped me a lot. That's why I still game every now and then. I don't game a lot. I game, maybe an hour or two a day. That's basically it. And that's supposed to help you get through this. Well, here's the problem. One, we get these Souls-like games, which I understand some people like that stuff. I don't care. They're just not my cup of tea. But I'm not going to throw them in the mix because Souls games you lose a lot at, and I do feel like it's not exactly a good stress reliever, personally. That's my opinion. But that's not really the problem. The problem is all these free-to-play Battle Royale games, which you only have like a 1% chance of actually winning. And there's a bunch of cheaters in there, you have a 0% chance of actually winning. So you get stressed out by that. It looks cool on stream, but you're losing nonstop. You know, you're hardly ever winning. And then top that off, if you're streaming at the same time, it's even worse. Because you're trying to look good on stream, but you're not looking good on stream. So you lose your shit there. Maybe end up on 47 or something. We already got 4 main problems here. Now throw social media into the mix. And we all know how bad social media can get. You know, you say one dumb thing online, everybody comes after you. To be fair, websites are now cracking down on that a lot. Like, you can't even put bad comments in YouTube videos anymore a lot. You know, they're really cracking down on that. For the most part. But you got to deal with that now, too. You know, so now you're losing your battles online because everybody's either trolling you or they're proving you're wrong. So let's look at the situation here. You're losing at school, you're losing at home, you're losing at work, you're losing in games, and you're losing on social media. We put all this together, eventually you're going to snap. And that's it. You know, so it's more of a 5-step program at least. I will admit it's usually school and home that causes this problem. This is the number one thing that does that. Video games should be used to release that, but the problem is they make these games nowadays where it's free to play, but you die all the time. See, the thing about video games is this, and this is the reason why it helped me out. We had video games that were shorter back in the day, but they were short because it helped you get to the finish line much quicker. You had to learn how to beat it. Well, like, let's take Super Mario Brothers, for example. You still got to learn how to beat that game. It's deceptively hard towards the end of it, which is why I don't like the original Mario game. But when you beat that game, you get a sense of achievement. Okay, you got a finish line. And you have to get to a finish line to relieve that stress. You know, might not work for everybody, but hey, it worked for me. I was more of a Sonic fan. Why? Because the games were a little bit more fair than the Mario games were. And even though we're going back to retro games a lot nowadays, even indie games are going more retro, which I think is a good thing. It's getting more popular because AAA games aren't as popular anymore. Free-to-play games are still popular, but they're starting to die off. But you see this circle of life here? Like, this is a bad circle of life. And everyone's on social media nowadays. I mean, when they say get off the shit, they're not even kidding. Get off the shit when you can. You know, the only thing I'm on social media with is YouTube, and I jump on X every once in a while. Not very often. I don't listen to everybody on there. But I'm extra careful who I talk to. Yeah, see, we got a really bad circle of life here with people. Now, the video game part's the only thing that we can really fix altogether. You know, just don't play Battle Royale games. I don't care how popular they are. They just don't play them. You know, play stuff. Play retro games more. Play games that are easy. Play games that we get to the finish line much more easily. No one cares. Like no one cares if you beat the game nowadays. They don't even care what game you beat, especially if they don't know about it. You know, which you shouldn't. But school and home are definitely the two biggest problems. I'll be fair with you on that. They're throwing this into the mix because when you get here, you know, it gets to the point where something's got to give. And this is why they keep bringing this part up, but it's really these two problems. And, you know, only one you can really fix. The other one is only so much you could do about. That's basically it. They're already trying to fix social media, which is good. Work is work. You know, I work at Intel, so I work in a good work environment, but still, like, not everyone goes through that. So when you really look at it, like, it's not exactly an easy solution. Yes, video games can cause violence. I've seen it happen all the time on stream. In fact, people do it nowadays in a fake way, trying to get easy views. But the thing is, like, I don't like that, and this is why I don't do it. I stay away from that stuff. You know, when you go to my streams, you watch my videos, I do whatever I can not to rage. Why? Because I don't want you to feel that way. I don't want you to pick up on that. And if some young kids are watching this shit, they're going to end up thinking, oh, I rage. They should rage, which is probably the reason why we're getting so active about it. You know. But there's also another problem here. So this happened in 1999. I was in junior high. No, high school, junior year when this happened. Now, Columbine was a nasty thing that happened, okay? It was nasty. That affected the entire country, if not the world almost. This was a big deal when it happened. Now, to be fair, we've had school shootings before this, but they weren't as big. Plus, it wasn't really that big a problem. This was one where, like, it was clearly obvious something was wrong here. Now, the problem with this shooting was all the information coming out after that. So what happened was, I'm not going to play the interview, but they were asking the kids, why do these two guys shoot up the whole school, basically? And one of them said, well, they were bullied a lot. That's why they shot the school up. And the entire media and news organizations ran with that story rather than ask what the hell happened, or at least doing an investigation. The investigation took like a year for them to figure out what actually happened. As far as I know, it did. Well, no, they weren't really bullied in the school all that much. In fact, if you ask anybody, they weren't really pushed around a whole lot. They got pointed at, but that was it. No, these two were real fucked up kids. In fact, they said they put out all their books, their computers, and everything, and they all talked about how the world was overpopulated and they needed to decrease the population. They wanted to start with the school first. It had nothing to do with them being bullied. They didn't give a fuck about that. They were just two really messed up kids. Well, guess what? Since that information got out before the full investigation was done, every kid who saw that, who got bullied in school, said, I'm going to shoot up a school now. This is why you don't put out misinformation. When you do that, everyone picks up on it and they think they're going to do the exact same goddamn thing. Even if the consequences are disastrous, they're still going to fucking do it. Now, if they would have said they were two messed up kids and held off on the information, I think it would have had a different outcome. You wouldn't see as many school shootings. So yeah, this is definitely sad. I'm sorry that this happened again, but it's getting to the point where I'm numb to it. And I do believe that we need to have some kind of gun regulations by this point, because you talk to the NRA, they just walk into Congress and say, Second Amendment says this, and they walk out. They do nothing. And then you get all these gun owners out there, not all of them, but a lot of them who just act like, oh, well, I don't have to protect my stuff. We have a right to bear arms because I don't trust the government. Okay, that's fucking fine. But if you got kids, protect the shit. You don't fucking need to have guns in your house if you don't need them. Especially if you're in city limits. If you got kids, for the love of God, don't have guns. Have some other way, okay? And if you do, really, really lock the shit up. Really lock it up. Don't give your kid an AR-15 for his birthday or Christmas, which is what happened to the other kid. And yeah, that father was fucked up. He's crying in court because he has to get useless. But what do you think is going to fucking happen? And we have a lot of people who have the same problem, to where they're devoid of how far we've come since the Second Amendment was created. They keep forgetting that. They keep thinking, we can have guns all we want. You can have guns all you want, but the problem is, do you really want kids to get a hold of it? Because that father has to learn that the hard way. And you saw the kid in court. He didn't give a fuck. He was all like, all right, I'm getting busted for it. I don't care. Oh, man. So, yeah, long story short, this was not a video game based incident, so be fair about that. Even though Columbine kind of was at first, but it wasn't afterwards. They ruled it out. But people do bring up video games cause violence. Yeah, they do. It's just not the same way you think it is. It's not like, okay, they watch a violent game, they want to pull violent acts. Even though some games are questionable, to be fair. Grand Theft Auto still is questionable. I'll be fair, it's more therapeutic than anything. It's just run around open world and shoot everything. But then again, they throw shit in there that's actually realistic, and that's part of the problem. That's why Saints Row never got hit. you know. And now we got GTA 6 on the horizon, which I've said before, like, I don't give a fuck about GTA 6. I think it's played out way too much by this point. It's just not interesting. It looks the same as GTA 5. So I don't care. And they focus on the same shit GTA 5 fell on. I was like, this is dumb at this point. I'm sure it'll sell a lot of copies anyway, but I'm just not interested. You know. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you had a great time. You know, and if you know someone's having problems, for the love of God, help them. Just please, for the love of God, help them. You know, enough with this bullying kid shit. Just stop, okay? It's stupid. It never was a good idea in the first place. If you got problems, go get help, okay? This is getting to the point where it's comical at this point.